thank all the persons of this Vishwa Ayurved Parishad who invited me to deliver this talk in the this August audience, and persons of very high repute of the country. And my for the topic of today's talk is basically, I have been told that I have to make a presentation on the basic, quality control type presentation, so that everybody can get some benefit of it. So in this context, I have made a presentation. The topic which was given to me is basically basic introduction about the applied aspect of the recent tool and methodologies for Ayurvedic drug development and drug discovery. So the area is very much relevant to us. The work which we are doing here is the same. So what we are doing basically, before going to this talk, I would like to you know I would like to invite some of one of you who can tell about the drug. What is a drug basically? Can anybody tell me what is the drug? Hello?
Anybody from the participants can answer to it. Anybody from the participants.
Anybody who is faculty member and anybody. So okay, let's leave. Okay. So basically, uh, basically, drug is a substance, chemical substance, which has a structure, and when administered to a living organism, it produces a certain biological effects. So this is known as a drug substance. So far the Ayurveda is concerned, same thing is there. Any material which contains chemicals may have some kind of effects. So generally we talk that every drug is a poison and every poison is a drug. It depends on the concentration, whatever is given to. So now we come to the topic. We understand that what is a drug. So if we understand about the drug, it means it is a chemical or a substances. As substances and all the things which are given to the person, it needs certain kind of quality so that same theoretical effect may be repeated. In That's why we need a certain type of quality control to control the quality of a drug. So, big, we enhance this area. There was a guy who is Michael Twist, basically, who coined a a word that is uh, uh, known as chromatography. Basically, he was a Michael Twist, basically Russian botanist, who discovered this chromatography. This what At that time he was separating chlorophyll of a plant, from where this word came. He coined this word in 1906. So the chromatography basically, chroma means color, graphy means writing. So it came from there. After uh, coming this chromatography, there are so many types of chromatography basically. So generally, column chromatography, planar chromatography, and when we use mobile phase, then there are two types of chromatography: gas and liquid chromatography. In planar chromatography, we generally use paper and PLC chromatography. So, so basically, uh, these techniques were come in the picture to standardize a drugs or a herbal drugs, what we call herbal drugs. So herbal drug basically contains so many compounds. That's why there is a need of standardization, so that we can understand the what kind of chemical profile this compound may have. So now suppose if we have this drug like substance, it should not contain any other material, that is inorganic part. All these whatever we are looking for, that is the organic part, and other one is the inorganic part, where inorganic part may be some metals. So for metal, we we have two type of instrument is available, which are atomic absorption spectrophotometer, that is used to detect certain kind of metals in the uh, herbal drug, or a crude drug or a drug. So that because there might be some toxicity due to the presence of these metals. So other instrument that is used is inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry, ICP-MS. So here, what is the difference between two different kind of spectro, different kind of instrument is basically one is the more advanced machine, precise and very sensitive. Other one is the not sensitive as compared to ICP-MS. So whole story is about the standardization of the drug, because why in Ayurveda what is the lacking is the we are consuming drugs, but we don't know what it contains in terms of uh, what kind of chemical are present in the drug. That information is required, because there are certain regulatory guidelines that a drug should not contain other than whatever the therapeutical agent is required to for a certain kind of medical conditions, so certain kind of uh, diseases. So other impurity may also harmful for a person who are consuming these kind of drugs. So that's why these modern tools are come in the picture, which are not against the Ayurveda, but also these are helpful for Ayurveda to validate whatever the ancient knowledge we have about the Ayurveda. So that knowledge can be validated by using all these kind of tools. So we can, all the modern medicine. Suppose in the area of cancer, there are lots of medicine. One or two example I can give you. They came from the plants, herbals. One of the podophylloctoxin, for which we are using etoposide, phenocoside. These have come from the podophylloctoxin. Similarly, other so many drugs which are derived from the nature. So Ayurveda is very near to the nature. So when we are looking the nature, there are lot of opportunity are available for the Ayurveda as well as the whole human society. So these are the some basic work that I did in my institute. So whatever I am talking about the podophylla syndrome, so we use this HPLC. This is the HPLC profile of all these molecules, podophylloctoxin, from where two drug has came. One is the phenoposide, toposide. So this we, you know, you have to understand what kind of compound is available in the extract. So we use this HPLC, so we get this kind of fingerprinting, and then we quantify that what is the percentage of all these compounds in different kind of extraction, so that one extract can be given to the can be develop a drug, or the drug-like molecule can be isolated from this extract. So this was the whole purpose by doing all this time. Similarly, there is another example, Boswellia serrata. It is basically used for anti-inflammatory or some arthritis, for the treatment of arthritis. So it contains this boswellic acid and turquilic acids basically. So we standardize this, that what kind of chemical fingerprinting of this extract is having. So it is equally effective for treating this anti-inflammatory and even in arthritis. So this is the basically standardization of this, and these are the compounds which are present in this extract. We standardize this by using this HPLC. So we use different kind of extraction techniques, and it every extract having the different concentration of the compound. Similarly, one of the other uh, plant that growing in the Ladakh area, high altitude area, that is a Tengicetum gracilis. We use a very latest machine which is known as HPLC, high performance liquid chromatography, electro ionization quadrupole time of flight mass spectrometry method, by which we understand that what kind of compound present in the extract and what is the percentage of the compound in the extract. So this is the different kind of extract collected in different uh, altitudes. So we want to understand that what is the effect of the altitude on the on the extract, what are the effect of the environment of the different kind of altitude. So different kind of extract was collected and quantified, and to understand the to understand the concentration of the different compounds. So, and other one of the important plants that is the that contain phenol basically, and this phenol is anti-diabetic. So Ergeria rosum is plant. So we used this NMR technique first time to quantify this, this compound basically, with the help of uh, one of the molecule. So this compound was quantified in the extract of this rhodium by using this NMR technique. So here different kind of technique are used to understand that what is the concentration of the compound present in the extract. So this is one of the other example of the GCMS, basically gas chromatography mass spectrometry technique, that is basically used for the volatile compounds that present in a herbal drug, or it may be in the perfume and other uh, household products. So one of the important plants that is rose-scented geranium. This is called rose-scented geranium. This is the photo of the plant, and by through this machine we can understand the chemical profile of this uh, rose-scented geranium. It contains a lot of high-value compound. So we get the fragrance like rose-like fragrance in this. So these are the compound present in the rose scented area. So other one we have developed. So this is the one of the example of HPLC fingerprinting. Uh, we develop a method for determine the different kind of compound in this methanol extract of a plant. So this is the basically a chromatogram that was recorded on four different wavelengths, and this is the zoom of the chromatogram. So same method was, here you can see that it was the runtime of 60 minutes. But when we utilize the different machine that is called UPLC, ultra performance liquid chromatography quadrupole time of flight mass spectrometer, we can reduce the time and same result we can get within 30 minutes. So this is the advantage of the technique that we have nowadays. So nowadays the technology is going very fast. So we should take the advantage of that technology to understand what are the what present in the extract of a plant. So here we use this methanol extract to understand that what is the uh, what kind of compound it contains. So we recorded all the spectra. So all the compound were. So this is the main conclusion of the summary of this compound basically. So through this technique, we identified schwarzamering, ferrocide, and cetirizine. You can see the structure of these compounds. However, there are other compounds which could not be identified through this technique, for which we need to isolate the compound. Then we reported NMR and other techniques so that we can get the structure of these compounds. But three of these compounds indicate that this plant should be uh, this chota chirata, you know, because schwarzamering is the major compound in this extract. So this technique is also helpful to understand that if we are mixing two different plants or unknown plant is given to us, then we can tell them that what kind of plant material or extract you have given to us, because based on the chemical compound present in the extract. So this is the advantage of the technology which tell us. Then we isolated then we isolated these compounds. First we developed the basic finger cutting, then at two different wavelengths. Then we use this preparative HPLC to isolate all these three compounds. And we isolated in a good quantity of these compounds. And on the basis of these compounds, we can tell that this is the Anicostema literally, a plant which contains these compounds. And these are the all the data which supporting data. So that's why so now I would like to make you understand about the extraction protocol, why it is needed. Basically it is needed to because when we extract uh, a plant material, there might be possibility that n number of compound may present in this extract. So when if we analyze this extract with the help of HPLC, it may give you 10, 20, or maybe 100 or more than peaks. But same time, it would not be possible to isolate, or we cannot, if we give this feed to the mass spectrometer, it may not, get all the mass spectra of all the compound which are present in this extract, for which we need a extraction protocol. The main purpose of this extraction protocol is basically we want to, we want to cut compound on the basis of their polarity. We want to use different polar solvent, so that they may be the main the, the thumb rule is that like dissolve right. So the compound which are, which are having the affinity to chloroform may go into the chloroform, and other one is the ethyl acetate and methanol as per their polarity. So you know they may be cut down, so they might be useful for getting the analysis done of the compound. So this is one of the technique that I have already discussed thin layer chromatography. Through this technique, we can, understand that how many compound is present in a extract or in a fractions of extract. So this technique is basically day-to-day tool in the laboratory to monitor while we are running the columns. So similarly, we got this compound and we recorded the spectra of NMR spectra of this compound. So these are the compound. Basically, this is the oxalic acid. This is the compound which are the pure. But when we run the crude extract, it is submerged with this all these compounds. So it would not be possible for any tools to detect within this matrix, for which we need the extraction protocols, so that we may get isolated compound. This is the other one. So these are the all TLC techniques, and the most importantly, I would say that recently we have published a paper where we, isolate so many compounds. Here we isolated in good quantity of these all these compounds, which are very, very important compound present in the Bidania somnifera. So along with all other compounds, we have published a paper in the ACS Omega 2020. So here I would like to say that we should not, understand that Ayurveda does not have any kind of, efficacy. It is very much effective, and it has very efficacy, high efficacy. But we have to understand, we have to believe ourselves that all these plants have the potential to cure. Similarly, we have already published a paper in the Journal of Ethanol Pharmacology, and these are the compounds which were isolated by our teams here in the institute. So this is one of the, miracle plant, Stenospora cardiflorea, and it is most popular, and everybody is consuming as an immunobooster. Similarly, this is the our ancient plant cannabis. So you can see that so many compound is present in this. What is the disadvantage with this plant is that it contains a psychotic, psychotic, drug, psychotic compound, which are not, good for the human. So what it is a wonderful plant, and see one of the compound, that is the CBD. Basically, FDA has approved, two drugs, Epidiolex and other one, which are being used for the treatment of epilepsy. So CBD is one of the, and other one is for the seizure. Seizure basically related to the cancer pain. So these two drugs recently, approved by the FDA, which are basically derived from this cannabis. So we have isolated so many compounds from this, this cannabis sativa. Other one is the ginger, and we have isolated good quantity of this 6-gingerol, which are very, when we taste, the spicy note is basically from this 6-gingerol in the ginger. So all these are the all the data was reported for this, and this is the data which are, you know, get the TLC of these pure compounds, and these are the list of publications which basically, you know, I have published. So this is the whole thing from my end. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. You've taken us to the details of tools and methodologies which will be involved in Ayurvedic drug development and discovery. We'll proceed to the next part of our workshop, and I request if Dr. Kanchan is ready with the questions. Dr. Kanchan, if Dr. Kanchan is ready with the questions, because now we'll be having a questionnaire session. So if Dr. Kanchan is ready with her part,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So Dr. Kanchan is JR2, Department of Brahshastra and Bhaishajya Kalpana at State Ayurvedic College, Lucknow. So she'll proceed with the questionnaire session.
Thank you, Dr. Anurag Vatsar, for giving me opportunity to moderate the questionnaire session. Very good evening over here, Honorable Chief Guest Dr. Rakesh Sharma sir, respected Dr. M.K. Verma sir, and all the participants. First and foremost, I thank all the members of organizing committee of Vishwa Ayurveda Parishad Vidyarthi Prakost for giving me opportunity to be a part of this awesome webinar. I extend my thanks to Honorable Dr. M.K. Verma sir to take out time from his busy schedule to grace the webinar and illustrate the topic in exemplified way. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening us. Now, coming to the questionnaire round, the first question is being asked by the question is, could the unidentified marker be area of patenting? Hello?
Yes.
Sir, question is, could the unidentified marker be area of patenting? Patent.
It may be the area of interest, but it may not be the area of patenting, because for patenting at least you must know about the compound, what kind of compound it is.
Dr. Verma, your voice is not audible actually. So you can one thing, you can switch off your video. So the network problem may be solved.
Yes, sir.
Hello,
Yes,
am I
sir.
audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Audible.
Basically,
Audible.
you are saying, yeah. Basically, you are saying that without identification, there should be no any kind of patent activity, because when we don't know about the compound, how we can patent it, whether it may have some therapeutical effect or whatever it may be. First, we have to understand that uh, because we want to protect our IPR. So first we have to understand what kind of IPR we have. At least that should be protected. But if we don't know about the nature of the compound, what kind of compound it may be, and what is the effect of this in terms of biological activity, that should be protected. And whatever the things which are not reported or earlier, or the things which are not there in the literature, can be patented.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. And so next question is, uh, what is FTIR? Sir, next question is Dr. Nisa Gupta. Please tell me what is FTIR?
Fourier transform.
Hello? Hello? Hello, sir?
Fourier Fourier transformation transform
Okay, sir. Sir, next question is, thank you, sir. And next question is Dr. Is Sharma. Sir, as the formula to decide the sample size in a clinical research is complex, can there be another simplified approach? Hello.
Hello.
Sir, next question is Dr. Is Sharma. As the formula to decide the sample size in a clinical research is complex, can there be another simplified approach?
Basically, I don't know how much sample is required for clinical efficacy. First, I would like to answer the first question. Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy basically used to understand what kind of what kind of uh, what kind of
Sir. Hello.
Kanchan,
Hello.
आप क्वेश्चन पूछिए.
Okay, sir. Sir, voice. Sir, I'm audible?
हाँ हाँ.
Yes, sir. Sir, next question is from Anuradha Roy. What may be
Chaudhary
the...
sir. Hello.
हाँ योगेश जी.
Chaudhary sir, sir, I would like to answer the question of the sample size.
हाँ, मैं यही कहना चाह रहा था कि if there are certain questions which can be addressed by Yogesh Pandey ji, so that will be a privilege for us.
Yeah, regarding the sample size, usual formula is very complex, but the simple thing is that this most simply you can calculate it by the sample size calculated on the net, where you have to feed only the population of your city and the prevalence of your disease. On that basis, calculated amount comes. This is one of the way out to calculate the formula. And the second thing is that there is a standard which is accepted all over world, is that for every variable you are taking in your study, there should be at least sample size of the 10. Okay, so if you are taking 3 outcome measures in your study, the sample size will become 30. That is one other formula. Then there is again these guidelines regarding the sample size in various phases of the trial. Okay, for example, if you are doing phase 4 trials, normally the sample size will be divided in 1000. Okay, but if you are in phase 1 trial or phase 2 trial, then sample of the 30 to 100 will work. But in phase 3 trial, you have to go for the 300 trial. Then again, there is a concept which most of the epidemiologists suggest, is that maximum sample size you need for the strongest of the power, and for the infinite population is actually 256. Okay, so you can go by any formula, and the basic thing is that if you are not able to calculate the sample size, and this question probably arises in the most commonly in the MD thesis, then the whatever sample size you are selecting, that should be enough for the statistical test you are going to apply. Okay, that's why 30 is standard, because in most of the tests we apply for the status, and t-test is applied below the population of the study. Otherwise, you will have to go for the jet test. Okay, so that's why in most of the cases you will find that sample size is 30.
Thank you, sir. Sir, now the next question is from Dr. Anuradha Rai. What may be the criteria for standardization of POTH? Hello.
hello hello
Yes, sir. Sir, next
hello
question. Yes, sir.
hello
Yes, sir. You are audible. Now answer, please.
hello.
Yes, Verma, sir.
Yes, sir.
You are audible.
Yes. Basically, I think some audio might be there. So first, FTIR basically used for functional growth analysis. Okay, now second thing is somebody is telling that sample size for the analysis. So one aspect is clinically, basically that was answered by somebody else, and the basically I would answer it in a different way. What I would say, for suppose you are getting some clinical sample and you want to analyze by HPLC or this LCMS. There are two different kind of need, two different kind of techniques. So HPLC need more samples as compared to LCMS. LCMS is the more sensitive technique as compared to HPLC. So if you suppose you are drawing a blood and you want to see some compound in that blood, so for which you need a extraction technique by which you can extract that particular compound from this blood. Okay. Other question is pertaining to me, that is basically Quath.
Yes, sir.
How
What may
to,
be the criteria for standardization of quark?
so it is yes. Basically, Quath. Basically, this is basically a, polar type of substance it may contain. So for which a different kind of methodology is required. So we can utilize, HPLC, we can utilize LCMS and other technique also. But first we have to understand that what kind of extract we are going to, feed to the instrument. So for which we need a specified column that can separate the compound present in this extract or whatever the material you have.
Thank you, sir. Very informative answer. So now next question is Dr.
Should I
Sanjay Kumar.
supplement?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because Dr. Verma is not audible.
Okay, sir. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Dr. Kanchan, proceed, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, now next question is from Dr. Sanjay Kumar Agrawal. Sir, question is, there is a big problem in standardization of Bhasma. Please give your input in this regard.
Okay. So this is basically very general question. You are not talking about any particular type of Bhasma. So I want to address this question in this way, that what kind of Bhasma we are going to prepare. So first, for which nowadays there are a lot of technology available in the market. So different kind of technology is required to address different kind of problems. So here we can suppose whatever instrument is available in our lab. So suppose we are having this AAS, so through which we can analyze any kind of metals. That may be iron, copper, and other metals also.
Thank you, sir. Sir, now next question is Dr. Shivaraj Dhaneswar Novel to sir. I would like to know, if one form the drug is modified into another, will there any significant difference in efficacy of drug like EST Madhutel or as analgesic, and Varnavupan formulation is modified to EST Madhu Malhab? Will the efficacy be same? Hello?
Hello. Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Sir, yes, sir.
हेलो
सर आवाज
Hello.
आ रही है?
बोले सर, audible
सर
है।
बोलिए, आप बोलिए, audible है।
yes. Basically, when you are you are saying yourself that it is a drug means there might be certain type of therapeutic effect for a particular drug. If you are suppose repurposing a drug to a different kind of disease, then the criteria might be different, because in the case of polyherbal formulations, there might be so many targets to that drug go through, and target a particular inhibit a particular enzyme or something which will be in the result of curing. So what I understand from this question, that can we repurpose a drug to other diseases? So, but it must have some clinical efficacy itself. Then only it can be called as a drug. Without clinical correlation, there is no drug. Drug means itself means clinical parameter or clinical efficacy and clinical what we call something which are important for a biological system.
Thank you, sir. So now next question is how to make protocol for research.
So I think this is not a complete question. It need to be completed before us. So how would I understand? What I would suggest that, what are the area? Area means the therapeutic area in which you want to enter. You must know about the area, that whatever the suppose target, suppose we are using one particular plant, Bidania somniferia. This is basically in Ayurveda, this is a rasayan, and it may have different kind of different kind of effects. So the first thing is, we want to standardize. It will give all the compound in itself, but if you want to enrich a particular fraction, that is more effective to cure a particular disease. That will be the methodology which you can choose to go ahead.
Yes. Thank you, sir. So now next question from Neelam Rawat. So she asked, what are the biomarker and how its study is done?
Yes, biomarker basically refer to the compound which are therapeutically active, or having some having some effect to cure a particular disease, or to inhibit certain kind of enzyme to eliminate the problem. So these that are the biological markers.
Sir, sir, now next question is Sinam Rani. She asked, what is the supercritical fluid chromatography?
Yes. Supercritical fluid chromatography, basically affinity chromatography technique, by which we can uh, separate the compound by using CO2 in this.
Okay, sir. Sir, now next question. Thank you, sir. Now next question is Dr. Vaisali. She asked, can bioavailability of an Ayurvedic drug be determined? Disintegration time can be determined.
Yes.
Sir, I
Hello.
repeat the question. Sir,
Yes,
can
there is no.
Okay, sir.
There is no need to repeat the question. Basically, I understand that what they are saying, that Ayurvedic drug, because Ayurvedic drug means it may be a polyherbal formulation, or it may be a single herb. So single herb means there are so many compounds. So they are saying that can it be possible to get the PK study? Yes. So it may be, provided you must have all the marker with you. Yes.
Yes, sir. Sir, next question is from Shivali Sharma. She asked, sir, how we do dose dividation of herbal syrup in children aged 5 to 10 years, and what is the reference we refer? But sir, this is not analytical point of view question.
But I can answer this because
Yes, okay,
basically
sir.
what you will do, yeah, what he will do, animal to human dose can be calculated. So on the basis of dose calculation can be done for the children. This is a very simple answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Sir, next question is Dr. Anil Shukla. Sir, he asked you, please share some information regarding few polyherbal formulation developed by Triple IM. Hello,
Yes,
hello.
I
Yes,
think
sir.
for single herb formulation there are a lot of leaf one you don't have leaf. I am not talking about leaf 52, but leaf one ligandoside and Gondoside, but developed by this institute and this Salaki, and now there are so many leads are from this institute and which are under in the clinical trial. So that should not be disclosed, but there are so many.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now question is ended. But there no question in chat box. Sir,
If anybody has any question, they
please
can
ask.
write it in the chat box, or they can even ask by switching on their mic.
Everybody is invited to ask the question, and they can write to me also. I can provide the mail through which I can answer each and every question, whatever the query you have.
There is a question, Dr. Panchal.
Yes, sir. Sir, this question from Dr. Shivraj. Sir, I wanted to know if efficacy of drug changes when it's modified like medicated oil to malhab and used for local application. For example, Yashti Madhu oil, wound ropak drug used as a topical wound management. The question is so complicated.
It is basically from the clinical side. It is not from my side.
Yes,
It
sir.
is basically the clinical uh, clinical efficacy of the drug. How we use what are the what will be the mode for administration to administer a drug.
This question is related to the Rasas and Bhasaj Kalpana. The mode of change of media change the action due to its reactions.
So now question is ended here.